Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Baal Shem El Shai, Baal Shem El Rakak Quadash, double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and Shalom to the whole full elect. This is Pai Allah, this is News and Prophecy and News. I have an article here from RT. The title reads, Ministers Mo sending Maxine teams to homes of unyapped reports. Alright? So as the title reads, they're looking to start sending personnel out, individuals out to basically get people yabbed on their doorstep. All right, and what this really is these. Let me actually read the article. It'll get to the points, and I can expound on it when I reach there. So it says number 10, the Department of Health and the NHS have been considering a radical way to drive up Novid vaccine intake in England. All right, so this is a radical way for them to drive up the vaccine intake in England. So everything's happening incrementally, gradually, in line with gradualism, to basically turn up, the pressure. All right, and remember, we ain't even got to the charagma yet, but it's more or less establishing the grounds as to where the prophecy written inside of the scriptures can be fulfilled. All right. So it says, number 10, the Department of Health and the NHS have been considering a radical way to drive up the Novid vaccine intake in England, according to media reports. Door-to-door teams might be sent to those that have not yet got a yab. Alright? So basically, these people made the choice that they don't want a yab. And this is like a year and a half, 2 years damn near into the pandemic. Alright? Maybe a year plus or so since the vaccine's been on the scene. But now they want to convince you on your doorstep, face to face, and apply pressure as to the point as to where you feel like, yeah, you know what, God, mate, just put it inside me. That's the plan right now, all right? And this is still under the guise of, this is for your aid, all right? Official data shows 89.7% of the UK population over 12 years old have had at least one shot of a vaccine, but those 10% that are still unvaccinated represent a source of constant concern for the authorities of all four parts of the UK. All right? So not only England itself, but Scotland, Northern Ireland, Ireland, and Wales. Scotland, England, Wales, and Northern Ireland are concerned. All right? They're also concerned as well. All right? So this shows you that, hey, this is the beginning of the vilifying of the unvaccinated, all right? And even if you really break it down, what are they to be afraid of? Why should they be afraid of the 10% that's still unvaccinated, all right? If everyone's vaccinated, if everyone can protect themselves against it, and they've been boosted up as well, why are the unvaccinated of any concern? And guess what? Even if you raise that if authorities approach you and you raise that as a question, they ain't they ain't gonna be they ain't gonna adhere the words of what you're saying. They're just gonna say, look, take the vaccine. All right. It's not about what's right and just. It's about you conforming to the new normal. According to the Mail on Sunday, let me read this quickly. Psalms 58:3, the wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Right, this man is speaking lies. His vaccine holds no weight in a realm of health, all right? As we can see with the rollout of booster jabs, all right? If anyone's really paying attention, you can see that it's all a construct of control, all right? That's really being utilized. So it says they go astray as soon as they be born speaking lies. So this devil, all right, the wicked, Esau, Edom, as it tells you in the book of Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Who controls the earth? All right, this devil. All right, and if you don't want to agree to that, then we just go to Malachi, the first chapter, where it breaks it down plainly that wherever Esau goes will be established as a border of wickedness. And who is Esau, Edom? The so-called white man today. Right? So he's a liar. Alright? And that's all he's doing. Their poison is like the poison of a serpent. Alright? They're like the deaf adder that stoppeth her ear. So yeah, you try to tell them anything in accordance with righteousness, they ain't hearing it, man. Because they got their mind set on to follow through in the lies that they've told the people. According to the Mail on Sunday, UK authorities are considering the idea of sending nurses to people's homes as a way to avoid new restrictive measures and to deliver vaccines to rural areas where vaccination centers might be less accessible. Alright? So now they're saying they're gonna have teams going out. Now these teams may start out very innocent, you know, when I say innocent, quote unquote, innocent, a nurse, one police officer, community support officer, you know, like a small team going door to door, just information pamphlet. But that's it will soon change, all right, because we're dealing with the militarization of the world right now. Ever going back to the time of 9/11, with the with what happened during that time, all right, you had the National Guard, lesser military forces basically being empowered and being utilized more and being shown as a face within society more than what they were before, right? And even dealing with the police. You have the 1033 program out in the States. And you've also had the same thing over here in England, right? The UK. That's happened under the Olympics. The different shifts with different things happening as to where the police have been armed heavily, all right? So, I was going to say one key point. So yeah, going back to this, it says the nurses. Now what you got to remember is there's a nurse shortage going on right now with the COVID, all right? A lot of nurses are saying that they don't want to go to work, all right, to deal with the all this stuff that's going on, all right? So as you can see, nurse shortage. Let me see if nurse workforce shortage in England. That's a PDF file. UK nursing crisis. I'll read this quickly. So it says healthcare all over the world has been severely impacted by the global pandemic, making it fragile and extremely vulnerable to meet the health needs of communities. Regulators have witnessed serious shortfall of health professionals and are facing increasing challenges in attracting qualified and competent staff while meeting their recruitment targets. Right? So basically, this is just the point. In December 2020, the report of the Health Foundation building the NHS nursing workforce in England said the government will need to exceed its target of 50,000 new nurses in England by 2024-25 if it wants the NHS to fully recover from the Novid. All right. So basically, the reason why I mention all that and the military personnel, you're going to have these military personnel, double uppers, nurses, and then more than likely, you're going to have armed police. Anything could happen. You've seen the riot that happened out here or the protests that was going on in the UK that turned violent down in London. These are all markers to basically establish more brute force, draconian measures when basically establishing these goals that they have set in mind. All right. So we're seeing a big shift in society. All right. The new normal is getting ever more, is gaining more ground. The outlet provides a quote of unnamed. The outlet provides a quote of an unnamed cabinet minister. Why are they unnamed? All right. who claims that he supports anything that encourages the vaccine hesitant, and who believes that the mood of the country is hardening against people who refuse to be vaccinated. When the mood is only hardening because there is a distinguishing between the two, all right? In reality, there's no argument that can be formed. You've been fully protected by a vaccine. You've got a booster shot. The unvaccinated are not the issue, all right? You're protected. Why fear, all right? But the reality of the situation is there's an agenda that needs to be established, okay? Because they're even showing you when you go into all the data that the people that are receiving the newer variants of the Novid are those that have been actually vaccinated, all right? So it says the government, so this sentiment that's being established is all propaganda, all right? The government has not responded to the reports that come ahead of the Prime Minister's announcement on further Novid measures. Boris Johnson is expected to make a statement on Monday amid the fast spread of Omicron variant, which has already prompted the reintroduction of some restrictions. More than 122,000 new Novid cases are reported in the UK on Friday alone, another daily record since the beginning of the pandemic. So as you can see, a lot of shit's happening, man. All right? And this is going to perpetuate. It's definitely looking like a cold winter, man. All right? And also with that, I pray you're edified to the next one. I say shalom, shalom.